Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this morning's webinar. This sucks. Eliminating the top 5 time-sucking activities in your transportation business. Today's presentation will take about 35 minutes, which should leave us about 10 minutes at the end for questions. As questions come to you, please send them through using the webinar chat function. And if there are any that we can't get to, we'll be in touch after the webinar. And as you might be sucked in a few different directions during the webinar itself, we will be sending out a recording afterwards. Now, for a brief intro on Tailwind. Tailwind is a comprehensive transportation management software that helps you run your freight business efficiently and effectively. Our goal is to help you stamp out the time sucks in your trucking companies and freight brokerages, so that you can spend more time on important activities like building your business and taking your weekends off. And now to Lynda, Clare. With over 45 years of experience, Lynda has forgotten more about the transportation industry than I'll ever know. She's been a dispatcher, a compliance officer, a controller, and now she's a training and implementation specialist here at Tailwind. Lynda.
Thanks so much for that, Brad. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. As Brad has mentioned, I am the training and implementation specialist for Tailwind. My role involves helping our clients get the most out of their Tailwind TMS, helping them find ways to use the application in their particular operations and workflow. I did start in the transportation industry in 1972. I've done everything from container ships to import-export to intermodal, settling my career in trucking. I received my degree in transportation management in 1987, and I've worked as a dispatcher, compliance officer, controller, order taker. So I can appreciate the challenges that you folks go through in your day-to-day working lives. And I happen to have used Tailwind TMS at a few of the trucking companies I worked for. So when the opportunity came for me to work at Tailwind, I leapt at the chance, as I always liked using their software. But enough about me. Let's get to our webinar topics for today, which is eliminating or reducing those activities that just seem to suck time away from the things you want to do, those higher value activities that can produce more value for your business. Now, I've worked a lot in the industry, long enough to know that the agenda I set for my day rarely goes as planned, given all the activities that seem to suck the time away from me. You likely know how that feels. We've talked to a lot of businesses to gather the list of time sucks that we're going to be covering off for you today. So I'd also like to get a feel for what is happening in your business. And I think Brad has a quick survey for us.
I do. So yeah, what we want to ask our audience is, what activity do you feel sucks the most time out of your day? Is it answering customer questions? Or maybe answering carrier questions? Could it be tracking down late or lost PODs? Or phoning to find out where a truck is and when it will arrive, the proverbial check call rodeo? Or maybe, just maybe, you have an extra lot of time in your day.
Yeah, I'm not thinking many of us are going to respond to that last one.
No, I don't think so. But, you know, I think looks like there's a few that have days that are like ever-flowing fountains of time. Should maybe be asking them to be speaking on this webinar. It probably takes a few pointers for them too.
Exactly.
Nice. All right, we have a few last people coming in, so let's give a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds here at least.
Sure.
Interesting results here so far, though.
Do share.
Yeah. All right. So looks like we've had most people vote. So we're just going to close that down and share the results. So it looks like answering customer questions is a pretty important part of people's day. Tracking down PODs, the check call rodeo is a big one, and it looks like there are a few people who just have a lot of extra time. So that's good to see. I'm wondering if they might be answering that somewhat sarcastically. I'll have to,
Yeah. Or I want to be them.
yeah, that
Thanks,
would be good.
thanks for that, Brad. Now, eliminating or reducing those activities that just seem to suck the time away from the things you want to do. Oh, darn. I'm sorry, everyone. I was in the wrong place in the script. I do apologize. Let's start over. I suspect every single one of you has at one time or another wished you just had more hours in a day or the ability to read a script better. In transportation, it seems we are always struggling to take care of those items that require our dedication and time to resolve. While I can't conjure up a 30-hour day, perhaps I can show you how to reduce time spent on some tasks, which should give you more time to handle others. At Tailwind, we are always looking at the way people in transportation work to try and find ways to help you become more productive. We look at ways that we can reduce phone calls, simplify and automate processes, eliminate duplicate data entry, and transact more easily. So, to our time-sucking activity one, or as Brad likes to call them, TSA number one. Constantly responding to questions from customers and carriers. Now, customers are the lifeblood of your business, but they also likely take up most of your time. Now, what if you could provide them with better service while spending less time actually talking to them? You are well aware of those customers that are always calling, looking for up-to-date tracking information for when their loads will be delivered, for how much you are charging them, for freight rates, for when they will get the invoice, on and on and on. Now, while the telephone was a great technological leap, another, more subtle piece of technology can help you with this time-sucking activity. Let me show you Tailwind's customer portal and all that it can do for both your customer and yourself. Brad, you want to switch the screen over to me, please?
I will do so there we go. Sorry about that, Lynda.
Thanks, Brad. No worries at all. Okay, so we're in my database now, and I'm going to show you our customer portal. It is the ability for you to give your customer a unique username and password, allowing your customer to see some details on loads you're moving for them. They have 4 areas they can check out. Here on the quote screen, they have the ability to see any quotes that you have on board with them, as well as the ability to request a quote. It greatly reduces those phone calls from your customers. In the shipment area, your customer has the ability to see any loads you are moving or have moved for them. As well, they can open individual loads, see the details of the load, what you're moving for them, as well as the amount of money you're charging them. And when you put tracking notes in your database, your customer has the ability to view those details. They have the ability to open these notes and see the details that you may have entered so they can easily track their own loads. As well, your customer also has the ability to see proofs of delivery that you may have attached to the order in question. When you upload a POD, your customer has the ability to open that proof of delivery right there on their own customer portal. Again, customers call you very often for copies of those proofs of delivery. Let them capture them right out of the customer portal. The other 2 areas your customers have access to is a balance details area. This is simply the ability for you to issue an AR aging note to your customer, show them how much money they owe you and how many days that order is aging out at. As well, they have access to all transactional historical data, the ability to see any invoices you've issued to them, as well as any payments you've received from them. So how great is that? Letting your customers help themselves to the information they're looking for. This will not only save you time, but will set your customer up for success that they will relate directly to you and your service. Now, as much as customers are the lifeblood of your business, for freight brokerage companies, your carrier partners are the arteries. How much time do you spend on the phone looking for a carrier in a specific area, negotiating rates, emailing out load confirmations, and following up with check calls to determine how your carrier is making out? Well, just like our customer portals, we also have a carrier portal that will allow you to interact and transact with your carriers and save you all that phone time. So here in a carrier portal, again, your ability to give your carrier partners a unique username and password so they only see data as it refers to them and their company. On the available loads screen, they will see any loads that you have advertised, giving your carrier the ability to tender a bid on this load. Under the My Dispatches section, this will be any loads that they have moved or are moving for you, with the ability to reprint load confirmations. As well, your carrier has the ability to upload proofs of delivery right through the carrier portal. When a carrier uploads a POD through the portal, it will attach seamlessly, no extra work by yourself, directly to the order in question in your database, making it available for sending to your customer with the invoice. So that's a quick overview of both our customer and carrier portals. So as you can see, with self-service customer and carrier portals, you can save yourself some valuable time while actually improving your customer service. You can give your customers and carrier partners access to information so they don't have to chase you for it. And an added plus, you look like a star in the eyes of customers and carrier partners. On to our time-sucking activity number 2, digging through rate histories to generate accurate customer quotes. So we're going to see where else I might be able to save you some time. How about on the rating of loads? Gosh, I spent lots of time in my day looking up miles for a lane, trying to figure out where I might have to run the truck after for the next load, calculating the miles by a $1 per mile rate, and then ensuring I have enough money to cover any deadhead miles that I may have to run. This task is made a lot easier when all your rate histories are available in one place. For example, with the Tailwind rate history feature, each individual customer and carriers have their own rate histories. Let's go and have a look at that. So I'm simply opening up my fictitious customer building supply company. This customer maybe has called me. I can see the details of my customer, and every customer and carrier has this button with an access to rate histories. When I click on it, it will return to me every load I have ever done for the building supply company. I've done 60 loads for the building supply company. Now, while I can scroll through this list and see the details of every load, truly too much information to scroll through. So we give you some filtering criteria up here. For example, maybe this customer calls me and says, Lynda, you recently moved a load for me that picked up in Seattle and delivered to Riverside, California. I can put the filtering criteria in, tell the software to go, and the software does just that. It filters those 60 loads out, shows me 13 loads that I happen to have picked up in Seattle and had a delivery or a drop in Riverside, California, with the related rate I charged. Even the ability to open that order and copy it out to a new one if the customer asks me to repeat the load. So I can filter by equipment, by weight, by pickup city, delivery city, or any multiple of criteria that I'm looking for. So while there's customer rate histories, and it's important to be able to quickly provide your customer a quote, it can be equally important to be able to do rate negotiations with your carrier partners. So the Tailwind TMS provides you rate histories on vendor records as well. Navigating to my vendor screen, simply opening, again, my fictitious carrier partner, 123 Transport. All your carriers will have rate histories. Clicking on the rate history will return every load I have ever given to 123 Transport with the ability to filter. Maybe I only want to see the things that 123 Transport has moved for me in a van. I can filter the criteria and the software will return the data, allowing me to do great rate negotiations with my carriers. Now, while there are customer-specific and vendor-specific rate histories, here under Tools, we give you all-encompassing customer rate histories and vendor rate histories. This will return every load you've ever done for every customer, of course with the ability to filter by equipment or by weight or by a specific lane, even radius searches. So if I get a truck stuck somewhere, great example of this customer rate history is, I get a truck stuck somewhere. I've got a truck stuck in Seattle. I know I've got enough money to run 100 empty miles. I can do a radius search of Seattle to return every load I have picked up within a 100-mile radius search of Seattle with the customer I worked for and the rate I received. So this becomes so valuable when you're looking for loads. And that all-encompassing vendor rate history, the ability to filter by a specific lane to determine what you've paid every carrier, making those rate negotiations much easier for you. So in summary, by having easy access to your rate histories, you can quote customers more quickly and accurately. You can also better negotiate rates with your carrier partners, which ultimately saves you time, keeps your stress levels down, and professionalism high. On to TSA number 3, searching for lost or late proofs of delivery. How many hours have you spent processing PODs, trying to flatten out the creases in the proof of delivery that the driver crumpled and stuffed into a strip envelope, scanning them and attaching them to an invoice? I know I spent many, many hours doing this, and it is one of the most time-consuming and boring tasks in transportation. But now, there's an app for that, the Tailwind POD Complete app. Tailwind's free Android and iPhone-capable driver app is a great tool for all our customers with trucking assets. A driver can now take a picture of the POD through the app on his cell phone and then have it uploaded and attached directly to the order in question in your TMS automatically. It's simple. Your driver downloads the app on their phone, and we even have a video you can send to your drivers to help with this. Through the app, you can send all trip details directly to your driver. They can then view these details and even mark the arrived and departed flags on individual dispatches they are working on. This cuts down on phone calls to your dispatch department and also allows for easy communication between your driver and your dispatch team. It greatly reduces the activity of what we like to call the check call rodeo. And best of all, the driver takes a picture of the signed POD, which will upload automatically and seamlessly into your software, attaching itself to the order in question. No extra work by you. It's all done by the driver in the app. Imagine getting a POD attached automagically and being available to invoice your customer on day of delivery. Not only a great time-saving tool, but what a great hit to your cash flow. You can now invoice your customer before the driver even leaves the delivery dock. I think, Brad, you have another survey question for our audience.
We do. Thank you, Lynda. So now I'd like to ask the audience, how are they currently getting their PODs back to the head office? Are they waiting for the driver to return to home terminal with the hard copy? Or maybe drivers courier the PODs back? Or maybe they use TransFlow or another service. Maybe some are already using Tailwind's POD Complete, or this is the one I think that is going to be the big hit. Maybe they've trained their drivers on Teleca PODnesis. That way they can just sync the POD back into the TMS.
Oh, Brad, you're such a dreamer. I can't even say that word that you said.
Yeah, you got to dream. I believe the NSA is actually working on something very similar to this.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's give our audience a few more seconds here to get their thoughts in.
Sure.
Oh, we have somebody using telekinesis. Excellent.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive. We'll need to see who made those answers and chat with them, see how we can integrate that into the software. All right. Looks like we got getting most people in now. Give a couple more seconds and we'll close that.
Sure.
Let's see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. We'll share the results with people. So most looks like are waiting for the drivers to physically deliver them. So that hopefully isn't taking too much time, but as I know it often can.
Yeah.
We have people that can be taking advantage of POD Complete, which is good to see. So yeah, looks like there's some wins that potentially could have there with potential customers. And, we also have a couple that are working with the telekinesis. So there you go.
Yeah. Thanks so much for that, Brad. Now, we happen to have done a study with one of our customers, and they concluded that their 20-truck operation would actually save over $20,000 per year using our POD Complete app, taking into account courier charges, lost and late PODs, interest on slow invoicing and payments, labor of data entry into their system when they receive the hard copies. And Tailwind POD Complete is a free app for your Android and iPhone services. So long as you're subscribed to the online Tailwind TMS, you can have as many drivers using the app as you'd like. Now, I do have one other tool to bring to your attention for POD processing. There, just brought the screen back here. So if you don't use the app and get the POD attached that way, then you can make use of Tailwind's POD import tool, which again will save you time. Once you have all your PODs together and scanned to your computer, perhaps into a scan POD folder, you can process multiple PODs at one time. Here I'm showing you my scan POD folder, and it can have 3 or 103 PODs. The ability to simply highlight all, one simple drag and drop function. Software does the rest of the work for you. It just took those 3 proofs of delivery, attached them to the order in question, and they're now ready to be sent to with the invoice to your customer. So that's a huge, I wish I had had that tool when I was working in the industry. Now let's move on to TSA number 4, duplicate data entry. This problem goes to the very heart of what a TMS does, which is brings all your data together so that all the people in your business can synchronize their activities. It brings operations, your dispatchers and brokers, together with administrators by automatically moving the completed dispatchers over to the administration side for invoicing, to customers, and payments to drivers and carriers. This truly is the heart of the operation, the simple workflow of moving a quote to order, and etc. Sorry, Brad. Moving on to TSA number 5, our last time sucking activity. Waiting on your carriers to return a signed load confirmation, acknowledging they will move the load for you. As a freight broker, or even as an asset-based trucking company that you broker loads on occasion, you might spend a lot of time on the phone negotiating rates with your carriers. And once the rate is negotiated, you then have to email out a load confirmation and sit and wait again. Wait for your carrier to get time to acknowledge the load confirmation, sign it so that it's binding that legal contract, and then send it back to you. Well, with a TMS like Tailwind, you can actually issue an electronic load confirmation and receive an electronic acceptance back, eliminating both time and guesswork. Here I'm showing a trip that I'm ready to dispatch to my carrier 123 Transport. Here I have a button that will enable me to send a load confirmation to my carrier. It does not send addresses of pickup or delivery. It simply sends the pickup city, the delivery city, and the rate you're willing to pay. This protects you against back solicitation. Then your carrier can accept the load. When your carrier accepts the load, your button will turn green in your database. It will show who accepted the load, date and time that they accepted the load. You can even cancel a load confirmation if needed, but this completes that circle of that legal binding contract. Your carrier doesn't receive any information about those loading or unloading facility addresses. You're protected against back solicitation and electronic acceptance. Once the carrier does accept the load, they will then receive the full load confirmation with all details needed. Let me print you a load confirmation here. They will then receive that load confirmation with all the details your carrier needs automatically. No extra work required by yourself. Another great time-saving tool. So that brings us to the end of our main presentation. We focused in on 5 things that can suck the time away from your day. Constantly responding to questions from customers and carriers, digging through rate histories to generate customer quotes or negotiate rates with carrier partners, searching for lost or late PODs, duplicate data entry, issuing electronic load tenders and receiving electronic acceptances back. We also covered off how Tailwind can help you solve some of those problems, freeing you up to address some of the other activities that are more important to your business. The last thing I will say to you is that we are always listening. We continue to listen to our customers, inviting them to tell us about their problems and challenges that are occurring in your business. One of the best things about Tailwind is the report feedback button. It allows you to talk directly to us. Give us your ideas. Let us develop the software you want to use. Additionally, you can also communicate with our customer success team through our in-app chat. It's the ability for you to strike up a conversation with any member on our support team. We are listening and tracking the issues with our software. In many ways, we are building a software platform with you, not coming up with ideas in isolation and then sending them out to you. I know you're all busy. We all know that using your time wisely is essential to your success as a business and individually. So I hope that I was able to add some value to your business today and that this webinar was an effective use of your time and that it didn't suck. Let's now get to some questions that have come in through the webinar. Over to you, Brad.
Sure. It looks like there's been a few questions that have come in so far, and I invite people to keep on sending them through. So just to get started, someone says they've been looking at the software and want to know if all the features that we've shown today are included in the one price that we quote on the website.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, Brad. Send it back to me for just a quick moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll bring up our website. You can get there by simply show my screen first. You can get there by simply entering tailwindtms.com. And here under our pricing menu, you have the ability to see our 3 different levels. We have a standard, we have a pro, we have enterprise. The details of what's included in each is here. But I can tell you the POD Complete mobile app is included with all 3 tiers of our application.
Perfect. And somebody's actually interested to see how PODs that are sent in from the phone app actually get into the TMS.
Oh, that's great. That's a good question as well. Let me bring up an order. Let me think. What order do I? 355, I think I attached to POD to. When I open the order in question, of course, it's going to show me all the details of the order. And here in the notes section, if I have attached any proof of delivery, I will be able to see that it has an attachment as well as the ability to open that attachment. So when your driver sends those PODs in, you can see that there is a proof of delivery right here through the notes section.
Cool. And somebody is asking, when will you have a central internal note feature? It says, currently, if you put in an internal note in dispatch, he doesn't see the notes if in the order screen, and vice versa. If in the dispatch screen, you do not see internal order notes either.
Interesting. Now, I would want to talk to you on a outside the webinar level. Yes, you are correct. All of our notes are categorized. We do have internal notes. We have invoice notes. They print on the invoice. We have tracking notes. So our notes provide different services for different users. But I'm very interested in your idea of having an all-encompassing or a central note that everyone can view. So Brad, if you'd make note of who asked that question for me, I'm going to reach out to them and get the feedback directly. Again, we're building the software you want to use. So I'd be happy to get that feedback in for whoever it was that asked that question.
Sure, yeah, that was Robert. So yeah, I'll make sure I pass along his contact details and we can chat with him more afterwards.
Please do. Thank you.
Yeah, and Larry's asking, when do you think we can do driver upload part when you're using multi-carriers from the broker side?
Driver upload. Larry, I'm going to need you to detail that question a little bit more for me, please.
I'm wondering if it might be similar to, or asking about like a POD complete app, but for a broker side.
For carriers. Well, now, wouldn't that be sweet and slick? Unfortunately, I think that might contravene with privacy laws. If your carrier agrees that you can set up a driver of theirs as a personnel person in your database, showing any like cell phone numbers, of course, because you have to have a cell phone in order to use that POD complete. So if your carrier will allow you to set your driver up, you can use the POD complete app with your carrier. We don't make it well known because, of course, of those privacy laws, sharing of cell phone numbers. Hope that answered that question.
Would something like a macro point help in that case too, Lynda?
Well, perhaps MacroPoint. We do have an integration with MacroPoint. On any dispatch, you can track your carriers using MacroPoint, but you have to have an account with MacroPoint, of course. But MacroPoint will typically only check the pings coming from a cell phone. I don't believe MacroPoint allows uploading of proofs of delivery, but I could be incorrect there.
So just a fair follow-up from Larry here. I do use the tracking software, and it would just add the POD.
You can add a POD to any. Yeah, you can add a POD to any, Larry. I'll reach out to you afterward, Larry. I suspect it's Larry Falwell, I think, probably.
That's correct. That's correct. All right, we'll do them afterwards too. Just to get a couple more questions here. I don't have time to clean my office. Does Tailwind provide this service to save time?
No, we don't clean floors, but we can help you get started more effectively with Tailwind if you'd like some additional help. Maybe this is a good time to show you that under our products on our website, we have some implementation service packages. These are available to you. While you can certainly subscribe to our software at a basic cost per month, we also have some service packages that will help. This is where I get involved with you. I can come in, show you how to help you set up your database, and even help you train your staff to use the workflow through the software. But no, I don't think I'm hiring myself out to clean offices these days.
That would be a great app feature, though. Just InstaSweep or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Someone is asking, within the application, is there a report that shows how much a customer has paid, either quarterly or monthly?
Wow, what an interesting question. Now, I've not spent a lot of time in our reports, so I'm going to take us down there to reports, and I'm going to look. Well, you certainly have AR and AP agings. That's no trouble to see those details. Here under operation reports, you can certainly run reports. Profit by customer summary, so both a detailed and a summary. You can do a revenue per customer, a number of loads per customer, quote to order percent, something that returns how much they paid and how quickly. I think that's more like a credit history, and you can access that directly off the individual customer records. I think that's what that person is asking.
Let's see. Then the last question I have so far, unless more come in here, and how much is the POD Complete driver phone app?
Oh, it's completely free. Let's get our website back up here. Again, as I mentioned, we have 3 different levels. We have our standard tier at $69 per month, our pro tier at $99 per month per user, and enterprise at $139 per month per user. The Tailwind POD Complete app is completely included in all 3 tiers. Your drivers just have to download the app on their cell phone, and it's available for use. You can have as many drivers as you want subscribed to that app. No extra charge.
All right. It looks like that's looks like the questions have slowed down. So maybe we'll start wrapping up the webinar. But if there are additional questions that do come to you afterwards, please feel free to send them through to Ask Lynda at tailwindtms.com, or
do you want
give
to
us
show
a call.
that? Sorry, Brad. Do you want to show that?
Sorry.
Yeah. Just so everyone sees that email address again,
sure.
please. Thank you.
There we go.
So there you go.
So yeah, you can email AskLynda at tailwindtms.com, visit tailwindtms.com, give us a call, 1-866-441-0441, or those that have managed to get the telecopedonesis working, then maybe you can just think over the question to us, and then we will reach out back to you. That would be kind of scary. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it.